Welcome back to the Franchise Legends podcast, where we talk with the entrepreneurs, founders, and franchise leaders who are building brands and helping others create powerful paths to business ownership. Today, we're joined by Austin Luke with Line Painting, a fast-growing home services brand that is redefining what a premium painting company can look like in local communities across the country. Austin's journey into franchising started long before Line Painting. As a young entrepreneur, he built and successfully exited a landscaping business. But after experiencing the challenges of scaling an independent company without strong systems, he realized something important. Great entrepreneurs shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel every time they build a business. That realization led him into franchising, where he saw firsthand how the right systems, support, and proven processes can help owners scale faster and avoid the costly lessons many independent businesses face. In this episode, Austin shares how franchising helped him transition into a completely new industry through We Sell Restaurants, and why founder-led culture and strong values ultimately drew him to Line Painting. We'll talk about what makes the line painting opportunity unique, what it takes to launch a territory with roughly $200,000 in startup capital, and why new owners focus on what they call the race to 100 leads, as they establish the presence in the community. Austin also shares powerful advice for prospective franchise owners, from the importance of validating a franchise system and its support team to why embracing discomfort is often the first step towards building something extraordinary. If you're curious about franchising in the booming home services space, or what it takes to scale a business with the right systems behind you, this is a conversation you won't want to miss. Please welcome to the Franchise Legends podcast, Austin Luke. Hi, Austin. Welcome to Franchise Legends, and we're so happy to have you here. Tell me more about yourself and the brand franchise that you're representing, Line Painting.
Hey, Miss Della. I'm just so happy to be here. Thanks for having us on. And Line Painting is super happy to be here as well, and talk to you more about line painting and what we're here doing in the home service industry, and also some rock star potential franchisees out there that might be looking for, their next venture, taking the life in their own control through business ownership. So as talking about the weather earlier, 90 degrees, probably thinking, okay, South Jacksonville, Florida is where I'm based out of, and kind of have an interesting path into franchising. So I was the high school kid mowing grass behind a longboard, getting pulled around the neighborhood by his mower on a skateboard to go cut yards. And I just kind of developed that into a pretty solid business for 7-8 years. I successfully exited that business through acquisition from a larger company in Jacksonville. I was kind of burnt out of it. I was just, kind of at my wit's end of scale, what I could do, being a young and immature and not very educated, and doing as much work as me and my 6 guys could do with the systems I had in place, right? So I actually bought a franchise called We Sell Restaurants. So I went from mowing grass and planting plants to brokering existing businesses and restaurants specifically. If you have any idea about the restaurant world, you know how sticky and kind of interesting those resales can be. So I did that for 4 years here in Jacksonville, and then was introduced to sort of the new development side of franchising, and really just fell in love with that. Had a passion for really helping potential franchisees and entrepreneurs, connecting them with businesses that they had a passion for, but also had really, really good systems. And I think that's where my passion for franchising came in, was the systems that are in place for these owners to really scale businesses effectively, from 0 to $500,000 in revenue to 1.5 to 2.5 and beyond, without having to reinvent or reinvest into those systems, the technology, or the training to do so in that business. Because I felt that burnout from my independent business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so go ahead.
That entrepreneurial spirit is something that is so encouraging and so exciting, but we tend to put our brakes on a little bit with that spirit flying high whenever we have to formulate a system. And it's somewhat easier to jump into a system that's already proven and tried in its process. Would you agree with that?
100%. I would never have been able to successfully broker restaurants without a franchise, truthfully. Yeah. So 100%. And it can offer a lot of, value and time and money savings as you're scaling a business as well.
Yeah, you can fast track that system because the model is already there, the foundation is there, and then the process to follow is already there. You're not reinventing the wheel, like you said. So I'm curious then, as an entrepreneur, young entrepreneurial mind, did you feel challenged by this investment you were going to make into franchising? I mean, did you think, why would I not just do this myself? Why would I join a franchise system?
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting for me in the restaurant brokeraging world. That was a no-brainer because I had never done that before. I had no idea what to do in regards to that, how to get leads, what do the contracts look like, how do I build a really good listing on Biz by Sell that's going to attract potential buyers, and then how do I value a business? I could run out a proposal on $100,000 landscape job every single day of the week with my eyes closed. But I had never sold a restaurant or gone and, written up a listing agreement for a seller to sign with me so I could list their business. So that was a no-brainer for me to go that franchise path. And part of my excitement into that was the learning, the learning of, evaluating businesses and how businesses are traded and the systems that need to be in place to be able to successfully trade them. So, and now I'm here with more excitement. I'm happier than ever. I tell people very often, Stella, that I'm living my dream.
Absolutely. Wow. That's an accomplishment in itself. So few people can say, I am living my dream. And good for you. That's probably why you were invited on Franchise Legends.
Maybe. I hope to be considered that one day. I think I'm not quite there yet.
There you go. Well, okay, it is legendary to live your dream. So tell me how you are living your dream. Like, did you decide, how did you get connected with line painting?
So franchising is a small world, when you start to get on the development side and you start meeting all these other founders in franchising and other developers and consultants like yourself, you just start creating friends, right? Well, when I started getting to the development side, and part of that passion is helping young folks like me get into a business, and not having to reinvent the wheel or starting when they were 18 years old, like plenty of roofers out there that just had family doing it, right? But the ability to adapt into a system, follow the guidance of that systems with the support to live their dream, right? Part of my philosophy was I want to partner with founder-led businesses.
Okay.
I don't want to deal with franchises that are owned by equity or boards or these large groups where you don't really know who's making the decision or who you're signing a franchise agreement with, quite frankly. So founder-led was a big thing for me. Nick Lopez, our founder here at Lime, has done so much for the culture here at Lime, building the team, building out the support systems. And also the other side of that was the culture. Lime stands for love, integrity, mission, and excellence. This is a very high value, high kind of morale brand that treats each other like family, but also takes business very seriously and is very motivated to succeed and provide for their families, right? And then the last piece of that is Nick Lopez is a wrestler. He wrestled in college, and I grew up wrestling, and we quickly bonded over that. And a lot of those disciplines that we still carry into kind of our business philosophies and development philosophies today.
Wow. Well, it sounds like the alignment was perfect for you. So you started as an entrepreneur, then you started as a broker in the franchising restaurant industry. Now you're over in home services. How did that transition happen?
Yeah, well, that was natural for me. I knew home service. That's what I started in. That's what I grew. That's what I ultimately loved. Ever since I was a little kid, I was like, I'm going to have a landscape business. That's what I'm going to do, So I grew, I learned that, and I really know that. The restaurant side was all new to me, like I said. So with the franchise to help me learn that side of the business, that provided me so much education, and I was able to grow for that. And back to the founder-led culture. Well, home service was again sort of a natural fit for me. It just made more sense for me to develop those brands and partner with those brands than the food service space, truthfully.
Yes. As a new entrepreneur, let's say I'm listening and I am trying to make the decision to jump ship, maybe from what I'm doing currently to a founder or a foundation, founder-led entrepreneurial venture that includes a franchise, signing up with a franchise. When you signed up with a franchise, was that something that scared you, or you said, oh, this is a red flag, maybe I shouldn't do this? And then maybe something that eased your mind that said, oh, wait, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be?
Yeah, good question. So part of me for that process was validation, talking to owners, hearing the in and outs of what they're doing day to day so I could understand the lifestyle that I would need to adapt to and then ultimately live to be successful. Because one of my biggest things in development is I cannot sell something that my current successful franchisees are not doing.
Yeah.
I need to know exactly what those guys are doing. And that is the system that we are selling. If it's any different, then I'm doing you a disservice. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean?
Yes.
So it's chatting with those franchisees to understand that playbook, what it looks like in their day-to-day life. And then it's the validation of the HQ support team, right? One of the big reasons you sign with a franchise or partner with a franchise is for the systems and their support. Well, those are people that you're going to be working with. It's a really big piece to get along with those people, go to meet the team day, hang out with them, break bread with them, because you're going to be working with them for the next 10 years, right? So the relationships are a big piece. And when I found We Sell Restaurants is the brand that I partnered with, when I found We Sell Restaurants, that made sense for me. I felt the support was there, and indeed it was there. Their systems were proprietary to them, restaurant specific brokerage. And there's so much value there that it made sense.
Yeah. Well, that structure, it sounds like, is what maybe helped you make that leap from entrepreneurship to franchising, that structure that was in place. And like you said, when you went over with line painting, that foundation that was in place as an entrepreneurial. So let's say our listener is thinking, I've got all this freedom as an entrepreneur, but now whenever I join a system, does that put me in a box? But what you're telling me is you didn't find that box, basically that playbook, is what made the experience so liberating in one regard, that you get to live your dream.
Absolutely. And, I think that there's so many entrepreneurs are different, but for me, what I was really good at, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs are really good at, is essentially getting a lot of people to believe in them.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to build teams. They're able to engage with their community. They're able to sell, and they're able to sell their vision really well, right? Well, that's what a franchise ultimately allows you to do all the time. So you can scale the franchise model.
Okay.
You know what I mean? What I experienced in my landscape business was we got to $1.5 million my last year of work. That's pretty good for a 22-year-old kid that literally started from nothing.
Absolutely.
But I was not ever going to get to $3 million in gross sales if I didn't pull myself out of the business, hire a consultant, reinvest into standing operating procedures, the whole nine, right? So what I needed, and what entrepreneurs like me really need, and the strength of a franchise is, okay, I'm paying you franchise fees and ongoing royalties for value. That value is that support, is that system, is that training that's already created, all the technology that's been vetted and standardized and put in place for your business so that you can go do what you're really, really good at. Getting your team members to believe in this vision, getting your community to go believe in your vision, and build relationships.
Absolutely. Well, I really like how you put that all together. Thank you for sharing that. So you mentioned earlier that your franchise owners and their success is important to you. So can I get one of those stories? What is a success story from one of your franchise owners?
Yeah, so I love my guy Corey Griggs in Charleston, South Carolina. Corey comes out of corporate. He's got young kids. He's got a family. He was not a young kid that jumped ships. He was a grown man with family and a lot of responsibilities when he took this leap of faith, right? In 8 months, Corey nearly returned his investment.
Wow.
And was profiting.
Mm-hmm.
A year and a half later, all the general contractors in Charleston, South Carolina know Corey. They're using Corey. Corey's currently booked out 4 months.
Hats off to Corey Griggs. Wow. Maybe we need to bring him on here.
Hats off to Corey. But
yes.
Corey, and he'll tell all of the franchise or potential franchisees that chat with him,
yes.
Follow the system. Work. It takes work. This is not a blind investment. This is a business, and we got to work and we got to go out there and hustle and get told no, to grow our business.
Exactly. So I realized Corey found success, and you mentioned earlier in some of your systems, you found success as well. And I'm curious if you could put some numbers on that for us. So as somebody who wants to invest into a line painting franchise, can you give us like that first 90 days? What would they be investing into? I know it's training. They would get a lot of training and support system from HQ. Is there an initial upfront investment that they would be making as well?
Yeah, let's just start from day one. Let's start at the startup capital. What do we need to get line painting totally off the ground? This will include some working capital, right? So the number I work with all potential franchisees on is about $200,000 for a single territory startup. Keep in mind that would be an owner operator. Line painting certainly looking for more owner operator franchisees right now. What we're hearing and what we're seeing from our successful franchisees like Corey, who went out there and did the work, is, hey, if you want to be really successful in this business, you need to do every part of this business, for some period of time, so that you can then effectively go out, recruit, hire, and then get people in there to level up in our system. And obviously we help support with personality tests and recruitment and things like that for their business. But so that owner operator startup looks like that, just around $200,000. That includes about $100,000 in working capital, to really get this business going in those first few months of business where we might not have business. And that also includes all of our franchise and territory fees, a grand opening marketing, budget for a vehicle and it getting wrapped, the insurances, professional fees that our potential franchisees might encounter while they're getting their franchise agreements reviewed, et cetera.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that first 90 days is full. So then what could a new franchise owner look at in 12 months? Now, you mentioned Corey Griggs saw some momentum within 8 months. So a year into this, what could, as a new emerging franchise owner, what could he potentially look forward to, or he or she?
Yeah, well, he needs to look forward to doing a lot of painting work, or she needs to look forward to doing a lot of painting work, right? So a big part of our training is sort of this race to 100 leads.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of our franchisees are accomplishing that in 3-4 months. It's very fast. So we work a lot with the direct marketing campaigns, the paid per click, direct mail, search engine optimization. But our new franchisees are certainly in their community as well. They're working with real estate agents and general contractors and interior designers, and they're meeting HOA members and property managers. So they're hustling as well. Line Painting HQ is not just going to bring them all of their business. You know what I mean? But realistically, our average gross sales for any of our franchisees is just over $1 million. Okay. Super pumped with that, especially when you look at the average small business in America. Only 9% of them do over $1 million in gross revenue a year. Right.
Right.
In our first year, can we expect that? No, let's not expect that. Have we seen it? Sure. We've had some rock stars come out of the gates really swinging and connecting. Right. But we need to be looking to close 30% of those leads in those first 100 leads that race to 100. And then we just need to keep the momentum from there. So if those 30 leads come in those first 5 months, we need to be looking at 40 in those next 7 months.
Absolutely. Okay. So that 90 days is mapped out. 12 months is mapped out. So I'm curious then, a new entrepreneur gets in a franchise system like Line Painting and says, this is working for me. Now I want to scale to more locations. Tell me how that market develops then.
This is where the fun begins. So last year, I had 5 current franchisees buy additional territories.
Oh, wow.
That's right. So getting these territories in this market established happens, 18 to 24 months. That's when community engagement and all of that work with relationship to building, doing good work, building that rapport in the community starts paying off. That's where you get okay, I'm booked out 4 months. I'm booked out 3 months, like my guy, Corey. Right. And that's where we can then, around that $500,000 to $700,000 in gross sales mark is where we start adding talent. Talent's going to replace us on job sites, production managers. Good production managers are going to replace us in home estimating. They'll become account managers. Our really talented guys will be able to do both. But we can work with those personality traits and train them through our systems as well. So once that account manager and production manager are established for 5-6 months, that's where we go to start really expanding, building our territories, building an empire for ourselves, right? Yeah. And it doesn't have to happen locally. I've got 2 franchisees that are in multiple states, Florida and Colorado, Arizona and Idaho, right? So it's a very scalable model, and I think that really validates our systems as well.
Yeah, and I really like the authenticity that you bring to the story as well. With owning your own business, and you got to that $1 million in sales as well, and then you recognize what you needed to go beyond that, and you weren't able to do that on your own. You were needing a coach to step in and give you some advice and to go ahead and scale, to create that succession plan, to have that playbook in place. And that's essentially what you're offering now to ensure that those who join your franchising system also has that what you needed at that point in time to scale now has that built in to scale themselves.
And with coaches, 2 of our most tenured franchisees that are operating in multiple states, like I mentioned, are our coaches. They are spending time with our franchisees in their territory, doing sales training with them, doing painting training with them, doing subcontractor management training with them. The support's overflowing, and that's, again, part of why I'm here at Lime.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have so much enjoyed learning more about lime painting and about you, Austin. I'd like to ask you a question. Do you have a book that you like to rely on for mentorship, or maybe
let me grab it.
Okay, absolutely.
So this book right here, called The Slight Edge.
Okay.
By Jeff Olson. It's not really like a business book or anything. It's more of a, I guess, personal book. I wouldn't necessarily call it, maybe it's self-development. We'll go with that, right?
Okay.
But I went to high school, a friend of mine, his name is Caleb Dressel. He's a multiple gold medal Olympic swimmer. And he recommended this book to me when we were in high school. And kind of the overall philosophy is doing the little things and doing them well ultimately builds a lot of momentum later on for the big things.
Absolutely. It's all in our daily habits. It's all in the little things. Yeah, that make the big swing. Okay, well, that's great advice. The Slight Edge, I really enjoy that that advice for that and the recommendation for that book. Thank you so much. And I'm just curious, is there any other thought that you would like to leave our listeners with regarding lime painting?
I was like, oh, I'm about to drop some knowledge right here.
Yes.
About lime painting. And I was like, oh, let me go back to my normal. I think that if you are a values-led, motivated individual that wants to grow a real business that has a lot of potential to scale, and you also want to be a part of your community and provide a lot of value to your community, lime painting might be a really good fit for you.
Okay.
The other thought I had was take the step, take the journey, whatever's motivating you, or that thought of, hey, this is going to make me uncomfortable, do it.
Okay. That believe in yourself, rah, rah, rah.
That's right.
And I believe that, that's the foundation that we all need, is believing in ourselves first, and then trusting ourselves to go ahead and make and take that leap, like you said.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Franchise Legends. I so enjoyed learning about lime painting and about you, Austin. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. We may see each other again in July. Does that sound right? A conference coming up?
Yes, do it. Be there. Disney. It's going to be awesome.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Thank you so much.
We'll stay connected. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.